You are listening to Viewpoints from PlaceCloud. Cultural researchers tell stories of places from around the world. For the full multimedia experience and to support the creators you enjoy, visit placecloud.io.
On June the 18th, 1982, at 7:30 a.m., a man was found hanging from an orange nylon rope, here, from scaffolding underneath Blackfriars Bridge. The body carried a fake passport, $14,000 worth of currency, and 7 large pieces of masonry, weighing 12 pounds, stuffed down his trousers. The authorities recognized him immediately. His name was Roberto Calvi, and his position as a financial advisor to the Pope had earned him the nickname God's Banker. The death was originally ruled a suicide. This requires us to believe that an exhausted man carrying 7 bricks descended a ladder, stepped onto scaffolding, and shimmied down in pitch darkness when he had enough sleeping pills in his hotel room to kill himself several times over. It took a private investigation in 1991 to prove foul play, and this was only confirmed in 2002, when an exhumation discovered Calvi's body displayed no traces of dust or copper from the scaffolding. His murder remains unsolved. To delve into why is to dive into the confusing and corrupt world of the Vatican, the Freemasons, South American dictatorships, and the Mafia. Transactions took place in a haze of murders and disappearances of those looking into the suspicious circumstances surrounding Banco Ambrosiano. Banco Ambrosiano was the bank Calvi worked for. It was originally a small savings bank for Roman Catholic institutions. Its religious nature was such that prospective employees had to submit baptismal certificates to prove they were good Catholics. Calvi started as a clerk, but quickly rose up the ranks to become general manager in 1971 and chairman in 1975. The bank soon became Italy's second largest. It might have been around this time that he was introduced to Licio Gelli. Gelli was a fascist who, along with facilitating the escape of high-ranking Nazis to South America, acted as the Grand Master of the Freemason lodge Propaganda Due. Despite being made officially illegal in 1976, the lodge was one of the most powerful associations in the country, a state within a state, including among its members Italy's most prominent journalists, politicians, and military leaders. Propaganda Due had connections to the Mafia and the Vatican. They were the ones who introduced Calvi to the president of the Vatican Bank. Here's how Roberto Calvi's operation worked. Try to keep up. From his bank in Milan, Calvi set up a financial company in Luxembourg, which allowed him to move money outside of Italian tax laws. From Luxembourg, he set up banks in Switzerland, the Bahamas, Nicaragua, Peru, and Buenos Aires. In the midst of this, he created dozens of shell companies in Panama. Calvi moved money out of Italy to the offshore investment companies. He then bought shares in Italian businesses that were shoved around the Panama companies via huge, multi-million-dollar loans. If this is confusing, don't worry. It's meant to be. Calvi tied up the system so thoroughly that nobody could trace it. The important point is this: the system worked, because when these gigantic loans were due, they were stalled by letters of patronage. These letters are like a banker's character reference, and they claimed that the Panama companies were credit-worthy. They were signed by the president of the Vatican Bank. Calvi was therefore seen as having the Vatican's blessing. In return, a secret written agreement confirmed that the Vatican wouldn't bear responsibility for the loans. Soon, there was a hole in Calvi's bank the size of $1.4 billion. Some of it was used by Propaganda Due to support South American dictatorships. Some of it was used by the Vatican to secretly fund Polish anti-communist resistance movements. We still don't know where all this money went. Calvi had made powerful, dangerous allies, and as those allies fell, they dragged Calvi down with them. One such friend, in prison for fraud and murder after causing the largest bank collapse in US history, had the streets of Milan plastered with posters accusing Calvi of illegally exporting money. The posters were complete with details of the banks, account names, and account numbers used. Calvi turned to Licio Gelli, the fascist, and the Freemason Lodge Propaganda Due for protection, but in March 1981, police raided Gelli's villa and discovered his plan to take control of the media, suppress trade unions, and rewrite the country's constitution. The scandal was explosive, leading to the resignation of the Italian Prime Minister. Calvi himself was arrested by the Italian authorities, suspicious of his deals on the stock exchange. Eventually, he was sentenced to 4 years in prison and was released, pending appeal. By 1982, Calvi was paranoid. He took obsessive security measures, spending $1 million a year on bodyguards, bulletproofed cars, and secret plane journeys. On the brink of his appeal against prison, he disappeared from his apartment and headed to London. His trip was organised by Flavio Carboni, a banker and weapons trafficker. Calvi lodged not in a swanky hotel, but shabby student accommodation at the Chelsea cloisters. His last days were of extreme anxiety and stormy meetings. All this while, he clutched his black attaché case, supposed to contain documents linking the Vatican, the Freemason Lodge, and Calvi's bankers. Finally, on the evening of June 17th, Calvi shaved his moustache for the first time in his life. His bodyguard had conveniently gone out for dinner. Calvi slipped from his hotel sometime between 11:30 p.m. and 1 a.m. He wasn't seen alive again, and his attaché case disappeared for good. So, who was responsible? The Mafia seems an obvious choice, and accusations are often thrown around. In 2012, Francesco Frankie the Strangler Di Carlo claimed that while the Mafia had wanted Calvi dead, the problem was taken care of before they did anything. The Freemasons are also blamed. Conspiracy theorists point to the overt, almost kitsch symbolism surrounding the murder, the masonry in his trousers, Blackfriars Bridge linking to the black ceremonial robes worn by the Masons. Journalist Edward J. Epstein suggests that Flavio Carboni was most likely the killer, the banker and weapons trafficker who organised that final trip, including the documents and the bodyguard. Carboni happened to have $11 million from Calvi in a Swiss bank account. Epstein writes, "Where money intersects with high finance, follow the money." Carboni, however, was acquitted of the murder in 2007 due to a lack of evidence. Ultimately, given Calvi's many hundreds of enemies and the 20-year gap in the investigation, we will probably never know who killed God's banker.